Hi everyone, really lovely to see you all. So today is a practice of tuning into your inner wisdom, is really the theme of the class, by which I really mean that stillness that is within all of us, even when we spend so much of our life in a way engaging outwards through the day with other people and with all the other stuff going on in our lives. So today is really a class to kind of, through the asana practice, is to find this sense of dropping into the stillness that holds all of that holds all the stories we're weaving all the time about our lives, that holds all the sensations we experience through this world of matter, through the world of the senses, feeling ourselves within the body. And just to see if we can kind of tune in and just sense that stillness, that source of wisdom and guidance that's always there with us when we do listen in. So if you take a comfortable seat to start with, and then just rest your hands wherever you feel to, so they just feel comfortable, but so you feel a softness across the top of the shoulders. And let your eyes shut when you're ready. And you may feel a gentle sense of lift up through your spine. And then, when you've created some sense of space through the structure of the body, then just bringing your mind inwards to your breath. And starting to follow and tune into the rise and fall of your breath. Bring your awareness into the body internally, so maybe down to the belly and that sense of the belly rising and falling as you breathe. And just noting as you sit, observing your breath, as well as noting the in-breath and your out-breath. You become aware of the space in between them. It's becoming curious about where your breath is rising from. And where it passes into. And trusting in that space. The space to hold you. And everything that rises up within the mind. And allowing your eyes to open again when you're ready to. With eyes open, if you take yourself round, and we're going to spend a few breaths in child to start with. And you can do whatever version of child here that you want. Just make sure you're not pulling forwards at all with arms or anything like that. Really let yourself relax here for a few breaths. So your body's becoming heavy. And you can feel that sense of deep connection to your breath. Really allow your body to open to your breath in this stillness. And then, when you're ready to, spreading out the fingers wide so you feel very anchored into the mat. And we'll just lift our way up and into a down dog. We'll just follow your own flow of energy here this morning. So really do make this as dynamic or as gentle as you want. And throughout the whole of your practice, do drop out at any point and come back to child. We'll take a few rounds of breath there. Then, when you're ready to, starting to walk your feet up towards the top of the mat, up towards your hands. And then just lengthen out your spine here for a couple of breaths. And as you lengthen out your spine, just feel that sense of drawing upwards into your core. Take time to feel the body. And then folding down the legs. And as you fold down the legs, just maybe letting your spine move a little bit, your skull move a little bit. And then opening up the arms into a big circle all the way around you. So you're opening up your energy field. Coming up to standing. And arms arriving at the heart. So feet grounded on the earth. And your crown lifting up into the sky above you. And just coming back into your breath again. And feeling the space, holding the breath, holding the body, and holding all that mental activity, that looking outwards into the world. We're coming into a sense of flow now, just to open and wake up the body a little bit. But as you do move, just still kind of find that sense of stillness within you. And if you find your breath is getting a little bit rushed, or you're kind of feeling that sense of needing to keep up, just slowing down so you reconnect again. Just really take time. So take a deep in-breath, and our arms are going to circle up. And then finding your way down and into a forward fold. Take time in that forward fold just to let your body sway a little bit from side to side. So really give yourself time to feel the body. And then offering your spine forwards. And you're either stepping or floating back into chaturanga, so into plank. Just take time to do so, lowering spine, lengthening out through the body. And from there, your knees can drop, or else you can lower all the way down onto the mat. And then, deep in breath, lifting up into cobra. And then pushing up and back into down dog. And you're giving yourself 5 breaths or so here in down dog. So really give yourself time to ease into your body. letting your breath come and go exactly as it wants to. And then from those 5 breaths, on an out breath, your feet walking forward, or you can jump or float or do a big step up to the top of the mat. Offering the spine again, whatever version you want. Lengthening out into the chest, into the heart. And then folding down the length of the legs again. Coming to rise, rooting down to your feet, and then a big circle up and around. And you're arriving back and into the heart. And then, when you're ready to move again, another big circle up and around. And with your out breath, folding down into a forward fold. Really giving yourself space and time to feel fullest expression, to come to that peak of everything. Breathe into that before you move on. Offering the spine an in-breath, and then out-breath, either floating back into plank or stepping back, lowering pelvis, looking forward, then either dropping down onto the knees and lowering down into cobra, or lowering the body down to the mat. An in-breath, and arriving up and back into down dog. Another out breath. Then your feet are coming forward again, so using your out breath to float, step, walk, jump up to the top of the mat, offering your spine forward and folding. This time coming to rise into Utkatasana, so coming into chair pose, knees bending, arms floating up, and out breath, arriving back into standing. So coming into chair pose again, breathing in, big circle through the arms. And then from here, we're going to come into a twist for a few breaths. So your right elbow is going to come over to the left knee, right palm on top of the left hand, and bringing out the body from the base over to the right hand side. You root down into your feet. And then into a forward fold. Your right leg's now going to step back into a runner's lunge. To take time to do so, really stretch out into that right leg. Hands are either sides of the front foot. Look forward. Ease your core forward. Gaze forward. Give yourself a couple of breaths here. And then we're going to come into a twist over to the left hand side. So right hand will remain on the floor. Left hand lifting up. Really anchor back into your right foot. And your left hand floating back down again. Coming back into down dog, lift your left leg out and really stretch it out. Just ease into your back heel. And then left foot can float down. So you can either hang in down dog now here for a few few breaths. You may even want to come down into child. If you're feeling quite energetic today, you could do a vinyasa just to come through. In which case, into plank, lowering down, into cobra, and arriving up and back into down dog. And so from down dog, on an out breath, again we're going to come up to the top of the mat. So your feet can walk, float, step, and then offering your spine. Really lift up into your chest here. Breathe in and folding. Coming back into chair pose, breathing in. Just keep finding the fullness of breath through the body, sinking down into your heels and over to the other side now. So your right elbow is going to come over to your left knee, into the twist. Left hand rooting down on top of the right hand. And feeling that twist originating down at your core. And down into the forward fold. An in-breath, offering your spine forward. And then we're going to step the left foot back now. To take your time to do so, into the runner's lunge. Hands are going to be either sides of that front foot. Look forward, lower down the hips. And then into the side twist. So left hand remains down and your right arm lifting out to the side, up and above. And right hand coming down. Now stepping back, stretching back of your right foot out behind you. So on a free pointed down dog. A breath or so there. And arriving back into down dog. All 4 points on the mat. Either hand in down dog, come into child, or else if you want to do another vinyasa, then this is your time to do so. And we arrive up and back into down dog. And then dropping both knees down to the mat, and with your arms stretching out in front of you, you're coming back into child, really stretching out the spine. And as you did earlier again, finding that sense of stillness here, to really allow the weight of the body to really relax, transfer downwards to the earth. And then, fingers spread wide, you come up and onto all fours. So just take a moment in neutral to connect with your breath and to soften your gaze here. And with that sense of connecting to this inner space, this internal space within you. Now following the flow of your breath, with your out breath, your spine curving, and with your in breath, pelvis tilting up, spine lengthening, opening up into the heart. Now allow your breath to guide your movement here as you move into cat and cow. So it's something you're kind of all acclimatized to doing. That's pretty normal in a yoga class. So now really bring the energy, your attention into your breath and the space holding your breath. And so your body is guided by this inner flow rather than, how to say, projecting outwards. It's almost like you're listening inwards as you move. And in the same way as you're softening your gaze and the gaze of the eyes, in the same way, just soften the flow of your attention, that sense of concentration. So there's no hardness or striving within it. Just a steady alertness. Now your next round, coming into melting heart, so you'll stretch out your arms further in front of you. That will take you down onto your forearms. Your forehead can relax to the floor. And you're lifting up and back into your pelvis, almost like you're drawing your hip bones away from your hands. With your next breath, getting ready to lift up and into down dog. And from down dog, we're just going to do a little bit of work in warrior, a few standing asanas. Just take time to arrive here first. And then either stepping the right foot through directly, or else you can lift it up and swing through the right foot between the hands. And we'll flip the back foot down. Now rooting into your back heel, lifting up. And as you arrive up now, feel this sense of drawing your right shoulder, the right side of the waist back. And at the same time, pivoting forward through your left hip. So both hips are looking forward, rooting down into the front leg. And the arms floating up. Lastly, you may want to just press the palms together and the gaze to come up. Get that long, steady, rich flow of breath. So really fully expressing the asana through your breath. Another round, and your hands floating down to the mat. Now your right hand can either come to your block here, so you lift it up, else to the right shin, or else on the mat or on your fingertips. And left hand lifting up, taking you into Trikonasana. Now only when you feel the left shoulder is easing up and back, then turning the gaze up. You may just catch hold of the thumb and the peripheral vision. With your next breath, bend your front knee. And with your front knee bending, drawing your back foot almost rooting away from that front knee bend. And then your left arm floating over the head. You're into a side stretch here. Left hand coming down, And with the left hand down, pivot your back foot now, so then you can come back and into down dog. You may just want to shake out that right leg a little bit, pushing shins out, and bringing it down to the mat. As you breathe in down dog, lift up into your sit bones, then breathe out and really flush the breath through the mouth, through the body. And then onto the left side. So getting ready to step your left foot through, or else swinging your left foot up and bringing it in between the hands. Feel the left foot through, then flipping your back foot down. And as you anchor into your back foot, then preparing to lift up. Just taking time as you arrive to feel that sense of pivoting through the base of the body. So your right hip's coming forward, left hip drawing back. Relax into your front leg, anchor into the back heel. And then, with strong foundations, your arms can float up, palms can connect. And lastly, the gaze turning up. Just feeling all the movement within the mind, but coming back to that space, holding your breath. And then, both arms coming down towards the floor. And as they arrive, then anchoring your left hand either on the leg, on a block, or on the floor. And arriving in Trikonasana, right arm lifting up. So allowing each kind of expression of the asana to peak, so come to that point of intensity of sensation. Still feel the stillness that's holding all of that space between the breath. You then bend the front knee forward, and with the front knee forward, then your right arm coming up and over the head. Right hand coming down, and then releasing out your left leg again. Just shake it out a little bit behind you. And it's floating down to the mat. As you adjust your feet, lift up and back into down dog. And arriving down onto all fours. And from all fours, spreading your left hand underneath the right, taking you down onto the left temple, and your right arm lifting up skywards. Right hand coming down, lift back onto all fours, and then threading right hand underneath the left onto your right temple. And when you've arrived there, then the left hand lifting up. Come back onto all fours and easing your way up and back into down dog again. Now either dropping down onto your left knee or else coming onto the outer edge of your left foot. If you're on the outer edge of your left foot, you're stacking the right foot on top of the left. If you're down on your left knee, the right foot's just coming behind. to eye version. And then your right hand may want to come up to the waist. Anchor your weight down into your left hand, and the right hand may lift up into Vashisthasana, into side plank. Keep your hips lifting. And arriving back down and into down dog. Another breath. And we're coming onto the other side. So your right knee's either staying down, your left foot stepped behind, then you'll come into a side plank on that right knee. Otherwise, coming onto the outer edge of the right foot, left foot stacked on top, and left arm lifting. Keep finding that fullness of breath. Left hand coming down, and both hands are rooting to the floor, your back and into down dog. And then coming back and finding your way into child. Fingers spread wide and arriving back onto all fours. And again, just following the flow of your breath as you come into cat and cow. And arriving up and back into down dog. Just give yourself space to arrive there. Following the breath, finding space within the breath. And your right foot then either lifting up and swinging it through, or else just stepping it through between the hands. Hands either sides of the body and flipping your back foot down. So starting to stretch up through the front leg now to open up this inner seam of the front leg. You may want to walk your hands up a little bit or come up onto the fingertips. Look forward, and then as if you're drawing your heart down towards your knee, just allowing the front of the body to fold along that front leg. Bend your front knee, hips facing forward towards that front foot, and anchoring into your back heel, we're lifting up into warrior one, palms coming together, and then the gaze lifting. Into warrior two, arms opening the sides of the body. Into Trikonasana, right hand coming down, front leg lifting up, drawing up. And then bending your front knee a little bit, right hand coming forward, and then rooting up into your right hand and lifting up the left leg into half loop. You can keep your left hand here down on the floor, that feels more stable with the balance. Remember to flex the back foot to really help stabilize the core. Left hand coming back, down to the floor. And we're lifting up the left leg now and folding down the length of the right leg. And the left foot arriving down on the mat. And your right leg coming back to join it into down dog. Breathing in deeply and a deep out breath through the mouth. And then you're finding your way onto the other side. So again, the left leg is going to lift up, or else you're just stepping it through between the hands. Take time to arrive there. And you're flipping the back foot down. Now finding your way up into warrior one. Palms connecting, last stop. And then the gaze drawing upwards. Bringing both hands down, and we're into the forward fold. So plant your hands where it feels comfortable, and then you're starting to draw up down the back of that left leg, draping the heart towards the knee. And then finding your way into Trikonasana. So right arm will lift up. Either take the left hand up to the shin or onto the block. Down on the floor. Remember to give yourself the space to really find the fullest expression here, to come into that peak of sensation. And just watching that ebb and flow. And feeling the space in which the space that's holding all of this. Bringing the right hand down. Taking your left hand forward, just a foot or so in front of the left foot. And then lifting up the right leg, so you're anchoring down into your left leg. The right hand can either remain on the floor, else it can come to the hip, or you can lift it skywards. So whatever's going on within the body, still finding that still point in which all of that is arising. Your next breath, right hand coming down, and just a few breaths lifting up into that right leg. And folding down left leg. Right foot coming down, and your left leg joining. Another deep in breath, lift up into the sit bones, and the out breath flushing the breath from the body through the mouth. And we're arriving down onto all fours, and from all fours coming back and into child. See if you can let every single part of the body now relax and letting go of the weight onto the earth. And then your hands coming either side of the body and lifting up and swinging out your legs out in front of you. And so legs out in front, and then we're going to come down onto the spine. And your right foot planting down onto the floor, right knee bending up, and your left foot crossing over the right thigh. So you're coming into threading the needle, both hands coming either sides of the right leg, and you're interlacing fingers around the back of the right thigh, and drawing that right knee in towards the core. Your next round of breath, right foot planting to the floor, and hugging in your left knee in towards your core, hands interlaced in the top of the shin. And your left foot coming down to the mat. So the left knee is bent, right foot's crossing over the left thigh. And then interlacing fingers around the back of the left thigh. If you interlace your fingers the way that feels a bit less familiar, and you're drawing in that left thigh in towards your core. Another breath. And then dropping your right foot down. Bringing your hands to the top of the left shin and drawing the shin in towards the belly. Drawing both knees into the chest, you just hug them in for a couple of breaths. And then you roll over to the right side and push yourself up, whilst crossing the legs, catching hold of the outer edges of the feet. And we come up into sitting. And arriving in sitting, legs coming out in front of you. A deep in breath, and your arms are floating up towards the ceiling. And if you reach up with each arm, as if you're catching hold of a rope up above you, you're stretching out either sides of the body in turn. And then hinging through the waist, keep reaching out through that rope as you come into a forward fold. Your heart looking towards your feet. And eventually your hands will want to come to rest on the floor, on the legs, around the feet. Picture your shoulders are soft here. An in-breath. Then as you breathe out, tucking the chin in towards your throat, so you're just letting go of the weight of the head. Almost like you're surrendering to the heart and the flow of its wisdom, its energy. Coming up into sitting again. And hands coming out to the sides of the body. If you then lift up your hands to shoulder height, your thumbs are facing up on top. And now feel the movement flow through the core as you start to revolve the spine over to the right hand side. Keep the shoulders relaxed. And then, revolving around, keep the arms stretched out over to the left hand side. Keeping the arms stretched out as you revolve over to the first side. Just notice if your mind wants to go quicker than your body wants to. And over to the other side. Hands coming back to the center line, and you're stretching out your legs now into a V shape, toes pointing up. Hands just out in front of you, so you're on your fingertips. And we'll stretch out the arms out in front of you. And then you're coming into a twist over to the right foot, right arm stretching out behind you. And then revolving on the axis of the spine to the twist over to the other side. Come over to the first side, shoulders really soft. And keep the spine lifting here rather than feeling you've got to fold forward to catch hold of feet. And over to the other side. Both hands coming back to the center line and interlacing your fingers. Breathing in, reach towards your left foot. And the out breath coming over the front of the body to the right foot. And in breath, out and behind. And then another out breath over the front of the body. So you're circling your pelvis with the spine in the pelvis. And interlacing fingers the opposite way. And then with your out breath, going the opposite direction, across the front of the body. The in breath around the back. Coming up again into sitting. And if you then bring the soles of your feet together, a little way away from the pelvis, it's a diamond shape. Hands reaching down to the toes. And just catching hold of your feet however you feel to. And in breath, lifting up into the spine. And the out breath, elbows bending either side, still folding forward. Now tucking the chin into the hollow at the base of the throat, so again there's this sense of almost bowing down towards the heart and its energy. Lighting up, and your knees coming together, and you're stretching out the legs and turn. A deep in breath, breathe in fully, Breathing out. And then breathing in again and just pausing the in-breath in the body for a moment. And then as you breathe out, the breath is releasing through the mouth, very softly through the mouth as you forward fold. We'll take a couple more rounds of breath there. The in-breath, very soft breath. You may want to pause with the in-breath inside the body. And the out-breath, very softly through the mouth. And then finding your way up again into sitting. And coming down onto the spine again. Knees hugged into the chest. And your fingers come over the tops of the knees now. And so breathing in, you're just easing your knees away from you. And with your out breath, the knees coming in towards the belly. And notice again the space between the breath. Space holding your breath. And then your feet coming down. And if you notice, click yourself into a simple twist, so you might want to cross the legs. Or actually just dropping your knees down to one side, your gaze down the other way. And switching sides when you're ready to. Knees back to the centre line. We're starting to find our way into Shavasana, so you may just want to hug your knees one more time. Or if there's anything else that you'd like to do, you have got a small window to be able to do one more thing, one more asana, before you come into Shavasana. And then, when you're ready to, stretching out your legs, arms by the sides of the body. You're arriving into lying down. Just make any last minute adjustments. And then the eyes shutting and softening your gaze behind the shut lids. Really feel your eyes relaxing to the back of their sockets. Notice the contact of your body with the air. And and the feeling of resting in stillness. Feeling the space between your thoughts is something constant, always there. Even when the mind is moving so swiftly, so busily, it is sometimes hard to sense or listen in to this space. Knowing in this space there isn't any confusion, clarity, space in which you already know everything, anything that you might need to. Space that holds each moment as it rises, as it passes. If you want to stay in Shavasana for a while longer, then feel very free to do so. Otherwise, starting to become aware of surroundings. You may want to move fingers, toes, the skull from side to side. Maybe stretch arms up above behind the head. And then, when you're ready to, you bring yourself onto the side of the body with a few resting breaths. And then you're finding your way up and into sitting. And arriving in sitting, again as we started, just letting your hands rest on knees or on the lap. Making sure there's a softness through the shoulders. And your eyes shutting, feeling space along the spine. Feeling the softness of the inner gaze. Note your breath, the flow of your breath inside the body, outside. And feeling the space which is holding it. The space around you. The space inside the heart. And hands coming up to the heart. And connecting to this source of energy, this boundless source of wisdom and guidance that already knows anything, everything. To this, bowing forwards and greeting self and each other. And coming up when you're ready, and letting go of the practice.